The Ghost Thief: How One Mastermind Outran Investigators for 20 Years. Before we dive in, hit that subscribe button if you dare to follow the darkest mysteries on this channel, because once you step into this story, there's no turning back. Now, let's begin. The night the Ghost Thief returned, the city of Atheridge was drowning in rain. Police sirens sliced through the storm as officers raced toward the gated neighborhood, their tires sending water spraying across the pavement. A silent alarm had triggered at 2:14 a.m. in one of the most secure estates in the state, the home of multimillionaire art dealer Charles Alden. By the time officers arrived, Alden was standing in the foyer, drenched, shaking, and staring at the empty space on his wall where his rare 18th-century painting had hung just hours before. The security system showed no breach. Every door was locked. Every window sealed. Motion sensors untouched. Yet the painting was gone. Detective Lena Marquez arrived moments later, stepping into the mansion with the calm focus of someone who had seen more than her share of impossible crime scenes. She took one look at Alden, then at the empty frame hooks on the wall, and her stomach tightened. The method was too precise. Too clean. Too familiar. It had been nearly 8 years since she last saw a theft executed with that level of expertise, and she hoped she would never see another. But now the unmistakable pattern was back, the one she feared most. No fingerprints. No footprints. No signs of forced entry. No dinner. The kind of crime executed by someone who knew security systems better than the people who designed them. The Ghost Thief, she muttered under her breath. The nickname wasn't official, but it was whispered across departments in Europe, the US, and even parts of Asia. For nearly 20 years, this phantom burglar had struck without warning, slipping in and out of high-security locations as if he walked through solid walls. Some believed he was a former intelligence officer. Others said he was a disgraced engineer who vanished after a major corporate scandal. A few thought it was more than one person. But every detective who had worked the case agreed on one thing. Whoever he was, he understood blind spots in surveillance better than anyone alive. Marquez walked the perimeter of the room. No glass shards. No forced locks. No unusual tools. Even the sensors remained perfectly calibrated. She leaned closer to the wall and noticed something so small it was almost imperceptible. A single strand of fiber caught behind the molding. Dark gray. Synthetic. Almost like the edge of a tactical glove. Alden followed her gaze. "Do you think it's him?" he whispered. She didn't answer right away. The truth felt heavier than she expected. Across the estate, her team traced the Ghost Thief's path, discovering a tiny interruption in the digital security logs. A 5-second blackout. It was subtle, expertly timed, and invisible to anyone without advanced forensic training. Someone had slipped in, bypassed the sensors, removed the painting, and left, all within a window so narrow it bordered on impossible. But the most unsettling detail came from the exterior cameras. As technicians replayed the footage frame by frame, they discovered a figure standing at the edge of the property, barely a silhouette in the rain, watching the mansion from afar. No approach. No movement. Just a shadow observing. And at the exact moment the blackout occurred, the figure turned and vanished into the dark. Marquez froze when the timestamp appeared on the screen. It matched the exact moment another burglary attempt had occurred overseas 12 years earlier. Down to the second. A pattern only the Ghost Thief would dare leave. Her pulse quickened as she returned to the mansion's basement, where her team had discovered a locked utility door that didn't show up in the original house plans. Alden insisted he didn't know what was behind it. But the Ghost Thief clearly did. Marquez exhaled slowly. "Open it." The officer turned the key, pushed the door inward, and stepped back instantly. Because inside was something that should not have been there at all. The moment the basement door swung open, a cold draft rolled out, carrying the scent of dust and something metallic. Detective Marquez stepped inside, her flashlight sweeping across an unfinished storage room lined with concrete walls. At first glance, it looked empty. Abandoned. But then the beam of light caught something in the corner. A black metal case, no larger than a briefcase, resting on the floor as if deliberately placed. Alden's breath hitched. "I've never seen that before. That wasn't in my home." Marquez approached slowly. The case was sealed, the lock intact, yet the dust around it was disturbed by recent movement. Someone had been in this room. And not long ago. She knelt and examined the surface. No fingerprints. No scratches. Nothing. It was as if the case had appeared there without ever being touched. Her partner, Detective Marcus Hale, joined her. If the ghost thief left this, he wants us to find it. Marquez nodded. Which means it's either a message or a trap. She lifted the case carefully and set it on a nearby workbench. When she opened it, the hinges gave a soft click, revealing a stack of documents so neatly arranged they looked untouched. Blueprints. Floor layouts. Old security schematics. But not of the Alden estate. They were maps of homes and facilities targeted by the ghost thief over the past 20 years, including countries where Marquez had never even seen copies of these documents. Some were stamped classified. Others bore the logos of cleared security firms. Every page held the ghost thief's signature technique, highlighted blind spots, outdated sensors, exploitable patterns. So he's been cataloging his crimes? Hale asked. No, Marquez murmured. He's been cataloging our failures. Under the papers lay a single envelope. Inside, a photo. An old one, grainy, dated, taken in a half-lit office. A man sat at a desk surrounded by monitors showing live feeds from security cameras. He appeared to be in his 40s at the time, with dark hair pulled back and a cold, focused expression. The nameplate on the desk read, Elias Klein, Senior Security Consultant. Marquez felt her stomach twist. I know that name. Klein had disappeared 15 years earlier after a catastrophic breach at a multinational security firm. Millions lost. Secrets exposed. And not a trace of him afterward. Some believed he had died. Others whispered darker rumors, that he had become the very criminal he once studied. Hale scanned the documents. If he's alive, he's been watching for years. Studying everything. Updating strategies. Like he's preparing for something bigger, Marquez added. Before they could dig further, a sudden crash echoed upstairs. Officers scrambled. Hale drew his weapon. Marquez stayed completely still, listening. Another noise, a thud, followed by hurried footsteps. Someone was moving inside the house. They rushed up the stairs. The mansion's hallway lights flickered as they approached the foyer. A single window stood open, curtains blowing violently in the storm. Rainwater pooled on the marble floor. Outside, tire tracks cut through the mud, fresh, unmistakable. The ghost thief had been there. And he had slipped away again. Hale cursed under his breath. Why break in twice? He already took the painting. Because he wasn't here for the painting, Marquez said. He was here for the case. They ran to the exterior cameras again. Hale rewound the footage until he found it. A shadowy silhouette at the window, watching them from just feet away. The figure paused, looked directly into the camera, and lifted a hand as if offering a silent salute. Then he stepped back into the darkness. Marquez stared at the screen. He wanted us to find the case. He wanted us to chase him. Why? Hale asked. She didn't answer. Because at that moment, another pattern struck her, a chilling one. Every document in the case matched crimes that had been solved, except for one. A blueprint of a facility located 300 miles away. A private research center with top-level tech security. Scheduled for renovations in 6 days. Marquez felt the temperature in the room drop. He's planning another job. His biggest one yet. Hale turned to her, eyes wide. Then we're running out of time. But even as they prepared to mobilize a full task force, the ghost thief was already far ahead, and the secret behind his 20-year disappearance was far more dangerous than either of them imagined. The wind slashed across the rooftop of the Helix Research Center as Detective Lena Marquez peered over the edge, her eyes scanning the sprawling facility below. Floodlights bathed the compound in harsh white beams, illuminating security teams rushing between checkpoints. The air buzzed with tension. Every guard, every camera, every reinforced door had been updated and tested twice. The ghost thief had never attempted a target this fortified. If he was planning something here, it would be the culmination of 20 years of preparation. But Marquez couldn't shake the feeling that everything was too quiet. Hale stepped beside her. "We sealed every entry route 3 hours ago. Nothing gets in or out without us knowing." "That's what everyone said in the last 20 cases," she replied. And he walked right through them. The director of the facility, Dr. Rowan, joined them with a grim face. "You're certain he'll strike tonight?" Marquez opened the metal case taken from Alden's basement. She pulled out the blueprint of the research center. Every corridor, every sensor, every weakness highlighted. "He's been studying this place longer than anyone realizes," she said. "He's not after valuables. He's after the vulnerability." A sudden crackle of static burst through the radio. "Movement detected on the west loading dock," an officer announced. "Unidentified figure, hooded, approaching the service entrance." Hale shot Marquez a look. "This is it." They sprinted down the stairwell, boots echoing against the metal steps, hearts pounding in sync. Rain hammered the loading area as they burst outside, weapons drawn. A figure stood 20 feet away, motionless, wearing a dark tactical coat and a mask that covered everything except the eyes. Calm eyes. Eyes that watched them with unnerving clarity. "Elias Klein," Marquez said, her voice steady despite the chill crawling down her spine. "You're surrounded. It's over." To her surprise, the figure lifted both hands slowly, surrendering without a word. Hale frowned. "That's too easy." Officers rushed forward, securing the suspect and pulling off the mask. Marquez's breath caught. It wasn't Elias Klein. It was someone younger. Early 30s. A face she didn't recognize. The man stared back at her with a strange mix of fear and defiance. "Where's Klein?" she demanded. The man hesitated. "You were never chasing one person," he whispered. "You were chasing a system." Before she could process the words, explosions of frantic chatter erupted through every radio channel. Unauthorized access detected. South wing cameras offline. Sector C entrance breached. Unknown figure inside the building. Marquez spun toward the main entrance. A lone silhouette slipped through the glass doors with the precision of a ghost. The real ghost thief was already inside. She and Hale charged after him, racing through the atrium and down a corridor lined with labs. Alarms blared overhead. The facility plunged into emergency lighting, painting everything in a pulsing red glow. The thief moved with impossible efficiency, turning corners just seconds before they reached them, always one step ahead. At the security hub, Marquez finally caught a glimpse of him. Elias Klein, older now, gray threaded through his hair, but with the same piercing focus from the photograph. He slipped into a control room and sealed the door behind him. Marquez slammed her shoulder into it, forcing it open just as the screens flickered to life. Klein stood at the center panel, hands hovering over the controls. 20 years, he said softly, not looking back. 20 years of watching governments and corporations rely on systems they barely understand. I warned them. They ignored me. You turned yourself into a criminal, Marquez shot back. You ruined lives. I revealed the truth, he replied. Tonight, I'm giving them their final lesson. Marquez lunged. Hale tackled Klein from the side. The three crashed to the floor as the monitors blinked through dozens of security grids. Klein struggled but couldn't break free. Hale cuffed him and pulled him to his feet. It's over, Marquez said. Klein exhaled with a faint, bitter smile. No. You still don't understand what I built. On the largest screen, red dots lit up across the country, locations marked with the ghost thief's emblem. Not one. Not 10. Hundreds. Marquez's eyes widened. You trained people? Klein nodded. I didn't outsmart technology. I taught others how to stop trusting it. As guards escorted him away, he spoke one last sentence over his shoulder. You caught me, but you'll never catch the next generation. The screen flickered, then went dark, leaving Marquez and Hale standing in silence, staring at the faint afterglow of systems they no longer trusted. A storm rumbled in the distance, but something deeper, more ominous, had already begun. If you thought this case was intense, just wait until you hear the next one. Hit subscribe so you never miss the mysteries waiting in the dark.